What's up guys, I'm randomfrankp, and the holiday rush is officially upon us now, so I figured it'd be a great time to do a 2018 end of the year wrap up of your top 5 gaming peripherals, with this episode being the top 5 gaming keyboards of 2018. So if you see anything you like in this video, I will have them all listed for you in the description down below so you can check them out, plus a few additional runner-ups and honorable mentions and stuff like that. And with Cyber Monday and holiday deals, odds are you can find them for a pretty good price. So first off is actually one of my favorites. I feel like it was kind of underrated, and that's the HyperX Alloy FPS Elite. This came out way back in January, and it really surprised me when I got my hands on it earlier this year. At first glance, it's definitely a nice looking keyboard. You definitely have some extra flair at the top here with that RGB light strip, but it's really more than just the appearance with this board. It has some great features. On the top left are keys for adjusting brightness, switching between different profiles and effects, and then a dedicated gaming key for disabling windows. Then on the top right side, you have dedicated multimedia keys with a nice scrolling volume wheel, something I think every keyboard should have by now. Inside the box, they also include a set of silver textured keycaps, as you can see, plus a magnetic detachable wrist rest for some extra comfort. You can't complain with some extra accessories. Now in terms of the performance and the keys here, it is available in cherry blue, brown, and red switches for you to pick from. I went with the blue switches in this unit here, but it is nice they give you those 3 options to pick from at checkout. The blues here are very clicky and tactile, obviously. People are very familiar with blues, and cherry switches by themselves, very reliable and popular, so all is good here. But other than that, it's still your standard layout. You can switch up the lighting effects in the software. And the last thing to point out here is we also have a USB pass-through on top on the backside. And that's gonna be nice for plugging in things like a flash drive, your mouse, anything like that. So altogether, the HyperX Alloy Elite RGB is a really solid keyboard that I highly recommend. Retails for $140 usually. And if you're a fan of some RGB lighting effects, this one will not let you down. Next up is the Razer Black Widow Elite, and whether you love or hate Razer, it doesn't really matter. The fact is they had a really solid year in terms of putting out new products, and I felt this one combined the best of both their product lines. This is essentially the upgraded love child of the Huntsman keyboard and the Black Widow Chroma V2. And on this board, we finally have dedicated media keys, which was something, kind of new to the Razer lineup. We have their multifunctional dial. That's gonna let you program to do things like, adjusting the volume, scrolling up and down on a web page, or scrolling in and out, launching websites, programs. It's up to you. This dial here is an awesome addition to their keyboards. This model also has the return of the USB pass-through, plus a headphone jack for keeping everything controlled at an arm's reach. This is also going to help you keep cables from, dragging across your desktop to your PC. And with the Black Widow Elite, Razer also included one of the softest wrist rests I have ever used inside the box. It just slides right up, and it's a really nice addition here. And then in this keyboard, we also have their new Razer Green switches, which are designed to be, less wobbly, so they're more sturdy. But it's that same clicky switch that we're used to. But you can also pick these keyboards up in their silent orange switch, or their newer linear and silent yellow switch options. And of course, you have the full RGB control here with their chroma lighting. This one retails for $160, but I do also want to mention their Huntsman Elite keyboard. And don't worry, this is not a part of the top 5 that I have on this list. I just wanted to point it out because honestly, this is one of their top selling keyboards from 2018. And the main reason is because of these opto-mechanical switches inside. These are brand new, and unlike an ordinary mechanical switch, these have these little light sensors inside that actuate when the switch is pressed just 1.5 millimeters down, which is about 30% faster than most keyboards. So you have a really quick switch. Other than that, much like the Black Widow Elite I just showed you, it has a similar design. It's still very flashy, obviously, with the chroma lighting, but there's also a light strip that goes not only around the base of the entire keyboard, but also goes to the wrist rest. This is just to add some more underglow, and it's really gonna make your keyboard look really futuristic on your desktop, if you're into that. And we still have the dedicated media keys and that multifunctional dial, all that good stuff. But like I said here, the main difference is those purple optomechanical switches here, and this Huntsman Elite does retail for a whopping $200. Next up, a 2018 refresh of a keyboard that started the RGB trend back in 2014, believe it or not, the Corsair K70 RGB Mark II. While the newer Mark II version has some changes, we still have that professional black brushed aluminum base here that I always thought made these Corsair keyboards kind of stand out. And this release now has the logo being RGB illuminated. We still have dedicated media keys, including the smoothest volume wheel to date. But the majority of the changes here are going to come underneath the keycaps with a ton of new switch types available to purchase. That being the famous cherry speed switches, cherry red, blue, brown, and cherry silent switches, giving you full access to pretty much any switch you want, which very few companies do. A lot of times they'll be limited to just 3 switch types available. But another new update to the Mark II is the release of a silver K70 Mark II color option, which always has me in awe every time I look at it. Definitely a nice looking keyboard when paired with those white keycaps that it comes with. So the K70 Mark II retails for $160, but often drops to $140 or less when they have some sales. Coming in at number 4 on this list is a different kind of style than the first 3. It's still got RGB lighting built in, but it's a 60% wireless mechanical keyboard. What, you say? This is the And Pro 2. These keyboards are extremely popular amongst enthusiasts because of its modding and customizing capabilities if you're into that kind of stuff, letting you switch the cases, pick up different keycap combos. You can really make it your own. But the fact that a wireless mechanical keyboard can make such a rumble in the community without a popular branded name attached to it, I think is pretty impressive. So like I said before, it is a compact 60% layout, so it's gonna fit in nicely on your desk without it taking much space at all. And obviously the fact that it's wireless is pretty awesome. It connects over Bluetooth, so you can easily switch between your phone, laptop, PC, Mac, very, very versatile. And there is some software if you want to download where you can switch up the lighting effects and personalize it. And the software now is greatly improved from the first And Pro keyboard. Some other changes include a larger battery, you have an actual on-off switch on the back, onboard storage for keeping like macros and stuff saved, and the USB Type-C connector on the back, in which they do include for you inside the box a red USB Type-C cable, and some colored keycaps if you want to, add some colored accents. You can buy this with either Gateron blue, brown, or red switches, or Kale brown and white box switches are available to you as well. So if you're trying to break away from the usual branded gaming keyboard, you want a more customizable approach with the And Pro 2, you won't be sorry, trust me, and this does come in at $95. And then is the Cooler Master Master Keys MK750 RGB keyboard. And Cooler Master was always, a company involved in the keyboard game, despite pretty much being known for their actual PC hardware. And the MK750 is gonna fit in right in with the bulk of the popular keyboards out there for 2018. Again, we have a standard keyboard layout, but with a floating switch design like Corsair does. This is so the RGB light reflects more evenly, it's gonna appear more brighter on your board. Speaking of which, a light bar does surround the sides of the board so that you have that extra pop factor on your desktop, and a comfy magnetic wrist rest is also included. But on the board itself, we have an area for some media keys in the top right. The cable is removable and it's actually USB Type-C, something I wish more keyboards would adapt, so it's nice to see that here. And in terms of some of these switch types available, in this board we have cherry blue, red, and brown. Overall, the keyboard is slim and minimal with very little wasted space as you can see. You have on-the-fly profile and macro control, so you can set everything here without software if you'd like, and just does a really good job with execution. Cooler Master might not be the first thing that pops into your head when you think of a gaming keyboard, but the MK750 for around $95 offers valid competition in this field. Now in terms of some honorable mentions,
I'm sorry, honorable.
I
don't know what you're saying.
First is going to be the Logitech G513 RGB, which has their newer improved linear and tactile Roamer G switches. I checked this out back in spring and overall was a great keyboard, so I definitely wanted to bring it up to give you guys some options. This has by far the most comfortable wrist rest I have ever used, and as you've seen, a USB pass-through, which is always a good feature on a keyboard. Logitech did pretty good with this one. Now for a budget option, the HyperX Alloy Core RGB is an RGB keyboard for only $50. Granted, it is just a membrane keyboard, but if you're just getting into PC gaming and you want like a starter keyboard just to get you going, $50 from a reputable company like HyperX, money well spent, plus you get the RGB lighting zones. This is a very popular budget option. And then it's a very interesting one. We have the WoodingOne analog RGB keyboard. This is really unlike any other keyboard I've tried in the past, so when I reviewed it, I was loving it. Kind of like the Huntsman Elite, the keys here have an optical sensor inside, so it's able to detect by the light beams when it's actuated. It's their own flare tech switches that come in both a linear and a tactile 55-gram option. And by the way, these switches are hot swappable, so if you buy the linear and you want to pick up some tactile switches, you could swap them out, no soldering needed. But the keys are also pressure sensitive, so depending on how far you press down W, just for example, that'll determine how fast you run in the game, or if you're driving. And to give you guys a good idea of how this works, I'll show you their jelly RGB lighting effect. As you can see, like the harder I press down or the softer I press, it reflects in the lighting. Pressure sensitive keys are really cool. Definitely wanted to include this one on here because it is so unique. And like I'll do with the rest of the series coming out over the next few days, I'll have a ton of other honorable mentions and other keyboard options listed down below for you guys. Alright guys, so that'll wrap it up for the top 5 gaming keyboards of 2018. Hope you enjoyed. And again, this was a list of some of the top rated and also some of the top purchased keyboards from the year. And like I said before, everything plus more will be listed in the description down below, so you can check them all out. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up to show your support. Feel free to follow me on Twitter at randomfrankp. And lastly, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Hope y'all enjoyed. Have a good day.